Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome all to this evening's program featuring release of the book Power Duty and the Game Changer. It is being written by Mr. Ashok Basu, retired IAS officer, who happens to be a senior member of our club. The book is going to be released by Mr. Shyamol Datta, former governor of the state of Nagaland and a retired IPS officer. May I request Club President Dr. Indrajit Roy to please address the gathering.
Thank you, Raja. Good evening. No question of an address here. Welcome once again. I just wanted to say that I have had the good fortune of skimming through this book, thanks to Ashok. Mr. Ashok Basu has been kind enough to give me a book to read. And that's when I thought that we must let the members have a taste of it. It's such a wonderful book. And coming from a person who all through his life has been extraordinary. He stood first in school final. He was first class first in economics and political science honors in BA from the presidency, what is now the university at that time, Presidency College. And then having traveled from assistant district magistrate and things like that in remote districts of West Bengal, which I found interesting reading because I have served in those districts and subdivisions. And from there, right up to Secretary of Steel, of Power, of Home during emergency. So he's done it all. And he's recalled his professional and personal life without rancor, without bitterness, in a most readable and, should I say, storytelling manner, sometimes quite humorous. I found this book unputdownable. And ladies and gentlemen, we have here today two people who will really read it out to you. But first of all, may I invite Mr. Shyamol Datta, also a member of this club, ex-governor of Nagaland, a retired IPS officer, to kindly come up here because he would be the one who do the honors. He'll release the book. And may I also invite Mr. Ashok Gupta. I'm sorry. With this Guptu going around all the place, I got confused. But anyway, may I invite Mr. Ashok Basu, the person I was talking about, to kindly come up here so that everybody gets a taste of this book. And I think I wouldn't say anything more. To introduce the first few lines, or perhaps, or just the initiation of the book, I would request again Mr. Ashok Basu, the author, to address the gathering.
President Calcutta Club, Sri Shyamol Datta, and friends. Many thanks to all of you for your kindly coming here today for this inaugural. I'm very grateful to President Calcutta Club for holding this program as their own program. And Shyamol Datta, of course, my old friend, I'm very grateful to him so that he has agreed to release the book. Now, what is my book all about? I'll take 5 minutes, not more than that. Let me read out the disclaimer at the beginning of the book. I have said, this is not a story of I, me, myself. It is not a story of I, me, myself. It is an account of the interplay between a civil servant and the society he serves, each moulding the other, I do something for society, society tells me to do something. It's a two-way traffic. Friends, I joined the IAS in 1965 and I was there till 2007. This period has been divided into two groups. First 20 years, not first 20 years, 20 years I spent in Government of West Bengal and 22 years I spent in Government of India. In Government of West Bengal, the usual subdivisional officer, additional district magistrate. Then I was chief electoral officer of the state, commissioner Calcutta Corporation. I was the secretary in 3 departments, education, labor, and food and supply. Yeah. Then at the height of the emergency, I went to Government of India in the Home Ministry, all-powerful Home Ministry. When the government changed and the Janata government was installed, I was picked up by Dr. P.C. Chandar as his special assistant. Later, I was special assistant to Dr. Karan Singh, who has very kindly written the foreword of my book, and also with Dr. Mr. Shankar Anand. Then, of course, Planning Commission, once again back to in the Ministry of Home Affairs in a higher capacity. Then I spent the last 10, 12 years in 2 infrastructure ministries, steel and power. I was secretary finally in both these ministries. Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee was very kind to put me as the Chief Central Electricity Regulatory Commission Chairman. I also worked with an international body and all that. Now the point is that it can be on a face of it, a narration of events. When I was there, so and so happened. When I was there, so and so happened. What I've tried to do is to go behind, the incidents that I saw. Why did these things happen? What was the reason? What was the politics about? What was the political climate? For instance, the princely state of Kuch Bihar. I was district magistrate Kuch Bihar at one time. It merged in Bengal on 1st January 1958. What was the reason? The independent kingdom of Sikkim, it was an independent kingdom. It became the 22nd state of India. Mrs. Indira Gandhi, she won in 1971 with a massive mandate. But even then, why did she impose the emergency? Why did she suddenly decide to hold elections in 1977? People of my age will know the 42nd Amendment, which totally took away civil liberties and said that your duty will come first before liberty. Now, after that, how did the Janata government come? What was the reason why the Janata government fell? Back in West Bengal, we will remember that Sahaj Path was abolished at that time in primary classes. Some of us will remember. What happened? Then they stopped English education in the primary stages. All these things have gone through, and we have tried to do our bit for the, so that these things could be reversed and better sense should prevail. Planning Commission, when I was there, Sri Pranab Mukherjee was my deputy chairman at that time. Did we perform our duties properly? Could Planning Commission have done better? Then steel and power were totally deregulated. I was destined to play an important role in that. What did we do? These are the kind of issues that I have raised. But more than that, just to make it a little more palatable, I have put many funny instances, lighter moments. I'll tell you one or two only to digress. I was Special Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs. My colleague Shamul was Director IB. 3-4 days after I joined the job, I found a man with a rifle standing outside my room. I told him, why are you here, bhai? I didn't call you. He didn't say anything. Shama kare, shama kare. Then I told him, bhai, kya hua batao? Then he said, sir, ye aapke liye nahi hai, ye bandar bhagane ke liye hai. It is to chase away monkeys. Anybody who has been in the North Block or South Block will know 50 feet ceiling infested with monkeys. So I said, "ठीक है भाई, आप बैठिए यहाँ पर, मत जाना यहाँ से, यहाँ बैठिए." I met one of my PAs. He worked with me in Balurghat. 10 years later, I met him Writers Building. He said, "Namaskar, sir." Then I said, out of courtesy, "Kemon achen?" That was the biggest mistake I made. For the rest 20 minutes, he gave a ball-by-ball account, like we do in cricket, of what all happened in those 10 years, including the theft of his cow and his occasional bouts of constipation. Khub kostokatinno, sir. These are some of the stories. There are so many more. You will find them in the thing. I won't to go over it anymore. You know, the service gives us enough opportunities to travel all over the world, all over India. We become a much better person by doing that. So I put my instances there, what all things happened during that time, and how we solved all those problems. It is very good. You can spend some time reading those things. Now, I had the opportunity to work with some of the tallest leaders of India and West Bengal, Sri Ashok Basu. Very stern exterior, but whenever I have gone to him with a problem, he has immediately solved it. He even rose above the party dictates, you know, to election ke time mein. It happens so many times. The coordination committee wants something, we did something else. Krishnapada Ghosh, Sri Vinay Chaudhary, in West Bengal I am Sri Buddhadev Bhattacharya, Kanti Bishwas, my minister in the Ministry of Education. Then my three ministers whose special assistant I was, I just told you about them. Sri Brahmananda Reddy, my minister in the Home Ministry. Sri Indrajit Gupta, my minister in the Home Ministry. Sri Pranab Mukherjee, I have already told you about. Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, who always had a great love and faith for me. He used to always address me as Basuji, you know. Dr. Manmohan Singh for a short while. Then I worked with Naveen Patnaik ji, with Santosh Mohan Dev, Ashok Sen, Suresh Prabhu. It is an unending. I have been fortunate to work with some of the tallest leaders of India. It is all very good. IAS is a very good profession. We can rise to the top without compromise and with dignity. But it has a very, what should I say, not a good effect on the family. Especially in my case, you know, we were constantly shuttling Calcutta to Delhi, back to Calcutta, again go to Delhi. It affects the education of the children from ICSE to CBSE, from Calcutta University to Delhi University. My wife is here somewhere, she's sitting there. She could not complete her MA. She did first year MA, then we got MSc in chemistry. We got married and she could not complete her MSc. She could not complete her MSc and could not pursue an independent profession all her life. These are small things which, you know, still we feel sorry about. Finally, before I end, I have raised a question of providence. Is there something called providence? Is there something called destiny? You know, when I got West Bengal cadre and when I joined West Bengal, it was my desire to stay in West Bengal and not go out. My father, Prasad Basu, some of you would have heard of him, Inspector General of Police. He also made a name for himself only in West Bengal. I thought I'll never go out of West Bengal. I'll serve the state to the best of my ability and retire from here. But something happened. That is the thing that I've written, game changer. Some game changer took place, which took me to Delhi. It was better for me because I got the All India stage and I could help the country also better, my state also better. So this is my story. I thank you very much for a patient hearing. Thanks a lot. My book would have not seen light of day without the joint managing director of my publishing company, Mitra Ghosh, Mrs. Indrani Roy. I will request you to say a few words for 2 minutes.
Good evening, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen. The offer for this book came through my friend in Delhi, dear friend, Jayanto Roy Chaudhary, who had warned me, look, Indrani, here he was a very respectable, honorable IAS officer. Do you think you'd be able to handle him? I said, let's try, because I'm generally not afraid of anything. So I met him, and to be honest with you, it wasn't difficult, except for the moments when you'd call me up early in the morning to say, look, Indrani, I'm really, very worried. I said, what happened, Ashokda? Some semicolons are not looking right. And a few quotes here and there, you should do something about it. So that was the difficult part. But I'm very happy and grateful that Calcutta Club have given this opportunity for the book release. And on behalf of Mitra Ghosh Publishers, which is about 300 authors under its umbrella, and about 3,000 titles to boast about, I really thank all of you who are here for the release. Whether I have been able to do justice to Ashokda's memoirs, that's for you to decide. The books are on display. and they are also available for sale. Thank you very much. Do have a look. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Roy Mitra. Now it's time for the release of the book, but before we have the formal release of the book, I would request Mr. Shyamul Datta, retired IPS officer and former governor of the state of Nagaland, to share a few words with the audience.
Excuse me. I have a request to everybody. Could you please switch off your mobile phones, or at least put them in silent mode? Thank you.
Esteemed President of Calcutta Club, Dr. Indrajit Roy, the cynosure of the evening, the author Ashok Basu, Madame Indira Basu, the inspiration of the author, gracious ladies and distinguished members of the club in the Hall of Fame. I'm indeed honored and humbled, besides being overwhelmed, by the kind invite of the author to take part in the celebration of his first book in the Hall of the Fame. Ashok and I have not only been the batchmate, the cadremate and colleague, but have also been good friends for long 53 years. Our friendship got struck from two different levels. One, a brilliant man, and the other, just a mediocre. I recall when our friendship started growing, I was asking myself, why has it lasted for so long? I was told by a friend of mine that friendship at times is blind. The other day, when I was leafing through the book in Delhi, a retired colleague of mine visited me and said, "What the hell you are doing?" I said, "I have the great pleasure of going through the book written by a batchmate of mine who has been friend for so many years." He said, "Are you aware of the fact that friendship is like a book?" I said, "No, I'm not aware of that." He said, "Yes, friendship is like a book which burns within seconds and takes years to write. Fortunately, our friendship has been fireproof." Ladies and gentlemen, I have been able to go through the book, not as in entirety, but I have got the essence of the book. And it would not be out of place to share with you the quintessence of the book. The one and only who emerges from the book in many splendid brilliance, in all shining armor, is none other than the author himself. He very succinctly takes the readers through a journey. And that journey goes through the unknown world of the bureaucracy with all its intricacies and complexities. He manages to explain to the readers that what made the Indian administrative service straddle every domain of governance ever since the British left India. He also makes the people know what pivotal role the bureaucracy plays in the formulation and the implementation of the policies for the conduct of business of the Republic and its federal units. With regard to the penship of the author, it's brilliant. He uses expressions which are short, simple, fresh, and lucid, with a natural flair and flow of a character of its own. As a result of that, the readers find it very easy to get the nuances of the administration and soon get engaged, engrossed, and captivated by the enormity of knowledge, skills, expertise of the domain of their governance, and thereby he gets away with a very fair idea about what bureaucracy is and what goes behind the steel frame to run the government. And the conduct of business they carry out is not only of the Republic, but also of its federal units. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, when I compare this background with the innings that Ashok played for almost more than 4 decades, I find that in this overarching structure of the bureaucracy or the steel frame, what made Ashok excel, what made Ashok really attain towering heights of glory in diverse and difficult areas was his unimpeachable integrity, simplicity, humility, and the farsightedness. A very unique feature of the book is, what he didn't mention, is personal, respectful homage paid by the brilliant son to his father. A father illustrious in his time, and Ashok did not forget the contribution that he made in the upbringing of the children, including that of the author. I therefore wonder, by giving this unique privilege to me, whether Ashok symbolizes it as a kind of a tribute to the service to which his father belonged. Another unique feature of the book is Ashok has paid handsome tribute to some of the political leaders who showed exemplary sense of administrative and political acumen in listening to the sane voice of the bureaucracy and thereby reinforcing its infrastructure for the better service of humanity and people. Ladies and gentlemen, Ashok has also talked of, he has been very candid that way, that what has been hunky-dory in the service is not what you see actually in reality. He therefore is very candid and candor about pinpointing the aberrations and the corrosion that are creeping into the very different layers of the steel frame of the bureaucracy. And therefore he has cautioned that if these aberrations are allowed to continue forever, this might bring the service to disrepute and make the things much more difficult. Otherwise, this service is most challenging and demanding, and at the same time most fulfilling and rewarding. And Ashok has ended with an optimism, which he mentioned just before. But despite all the aberrations, challenges, difficulties, and travails of the service, this particular service called Indian Administrative Service and the steel frame does make it possible for persons to reach the top without any compromise and with dignity. Ashok has mentioned about the game changer. Now, in his case, the game changer came after the disturbances in Kuch Bihar district, and thereafter the things started changing for him to change the port of call from the state to the center. I happened to have worked with him at that point of time, but before this disturbance took place, I was transferred to Jalpaiguri. Now, I wonder whether the author, the title of the book, called The Power, Duty and Game Changer, is itself suggestive of the fact that if power, duty can mix together well and in right measure, whether that can act as a game changer. Otherwise, game changer happens even in personal life, not only in professional life. And that game changing normally visits each one of us in the garb of adversities and upsets. It all depends on how you handle the adversities and try to rewire yourself and re-energize yourself to rebound back with renewed vigor and energy to get over the adversity and try to make out a different kind of approach to do what is destined to happen. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, I wish Ashok a very happy hunting ground in the new membership he has acquired of the Club of Authors. He belongs to the Club of Non-Fiction Writers. It is much easier to write fiction than the non-fiction. I wish this book will be the beginning of many more to come. And I expect the book to make a very bumper harvest of the crop that he has sown over the decades and is now ready for release. I thank Ashok and Madame Basu for giving us this honor to be here on such a momentum occasion. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, we would request you to do the honor. That's the formal release of the book, Power, Duty, and the Game Changer, written by Mr. Ashok Basu. Ladies and gentlemen, like all good things come to an end, it's time to conclude this evening's program. I take this opportunity to extend vote of thanks. At the very outset, I'd like to thank Mr. Ashok Basu for sharing the glimpses of this book with us. I'd like to thank Mr. Shyamul Datta for taking out valuable time from his busy schedule and for being here to release the book. I'd like to thank Mrs. Indrani Roy Mitra, Joint Managing Director of Mitra Ghosh Publishers Pvt. Limited. I'd like to thank Mrs. Arjay Gupta and Pradeep Gupta for taking care of the book reading and question and answer session. I would like to thank Club President Dr. Indrajit Rai and all the members of the committee for extending their support and cooperation to hold this program. Last but not the least, I'd like to thank all of you who have attended this program. I sincerely believe that all of you have enjoyed. We are going to serve light refreshment at the adjacent balcony. I'd request all of you to join us over there. Thank you so much. Good night.